What's up, YouTube? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back with another one. Guys, in today's video, we're gonna talk about why Africans, why do we hate each other? Why can't we do what we were meant to do? And why are we always imitating the people that we're not supposed to be imitating? I mean, like, why? Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holla. What up? What's up? Who are you speaking to? No, I'm recording a video. All right, people, let's get into this, right? So, there's a country called Lesotho. Some would call it Lesotho, right? It's a country within a country. If you don't know, it is inside South Africa. Okay, now why am I bringing this up? I just said to you now that as Africans, we don't like each other. And I'm going to give you proof. How am I going to give you proof now? Check this out. Colonialism came. But before colonialism, we all know there was no countries. There was territories, but no countries, right? So we all know that, right? There was no countries, but there was territories. Territory of the Zulus, territory of the Yoruba, territory of the Shona, territory of uh, the tribe in Kenya, the what's the tribe in Kenya called again? They were very, very famous, and the the Maasai, the Maasai, they had their own territories, and everyone knew that we didn't have countries back then, but we had territories, and everyone respected the boundaries. We all knew that, right? We all know that. We go back. We don't have to go back into history. We all know what I'm talking about, right? People, tell me why colonialism came. They divided those territories, sliced. They didn't care whether they sliced through half a country. They didn't care whether they created a border between same nations or same people and they just separated people. Everyone knows that. It doesn't make sense that we have Zulu people in, let's just say Zulu people in South Africa, then we have Zulu people in Zimbabwe, we have Zulu people in Mozambique. It just doesn't make sense. It shows that there was a common territory between these. I'm just giving an example of Zulu people, right? It can be any other tribe, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Maybe you go to Swahili people, for example. Why is it possible? Why is it that 3 or 4 countries now speak Swahili? It shows that the Swahili people came from one territory, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? Okay, so that's one thing. Now, why am I saying that we don't like each other? Number one, we all know that those borders were created that were never there, right? So, what is wrong if we return or we dismantle the borders, go back to our original territories? What is so wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that personally. I don't. Because when we say take away the borders, we're not just saying keep the keep the countries as they are. We're not saying that. All we are simply saying is by removing the borders, let us go back to our original settings, like the way they were. We go back to the original territories as they were. You understand what I'm saying? That is the main thing that I'm saying we should also look at, because what I'm saying is it would actually help a lot, right? If we actually went back to the territories that we have, that would even lessen the disputes and the fights that we're having now. Because to be honest, this concept of countries is actually a headache. Because even if you look at the current state of what's this? If you look at the current state of Free State in South Africa, right? So we have Free State, Lesotho. You can see that there are so many Sotho speaking people in South Africa. I think even 2 million. I think I think to be honest, I think there's a if not an almost equal number but there's a large number of Sotho-speaking people in South Africa, which you can clearly see. You can clearly see that these people come from Lesotho, but now they're all in. Okay, there's a language called Shangani, or there are people called Shangani people, right? They are predominantly in Mozambique, but they're also partly in South Africa. It just shows the way the borders were created, that the colonialists didn't care how they divided the country. They didn't care along whose territory, along whose lines. They just didn't care. Then now people are divided. Now you'll find someone saying, "Oh no, you are from a certain country, you are from a certain country, but you speak the same language, you practice the same cultures, but because someone from outside decided to put a border between a territory that was for certain people. Now, guess what? Those same people who practice the same culture, speak the same language, are now two different people. People, are we that stupid? Can we not go back, look at old maps? We don't even have to look at maps. No, we don't have to look at maps. We just go to our old elders, the people that know best, and they will tell you. And you use those as guidelines. You understand what I'm saying? Watch out, Maggie. We use that as guidelines. You know what I mean? We use that as guidelines. We use that as guidelines. And I promise you, Africa's problems will become lesser and lesser as we go back to the territory system that we had. Now I know a lot of people are going to say to me, "No, that's backward thinking, that's stupid thinking." Bro, sister, listen to me. You can't even explain to me how there are Ndebele people in South Africa and there are Ndebele people in Zimbabwe. You can't even explain to me that. You can't. And yet they speak the same language, practice the same practices, and yet they see each other as foreigners. How? How? You get the Zulu people in Zimbabwe, well, the Ndebele people in Zimbabwe and the Zulu people of South Africa, and they see each other as foreigners, as enemies. Yet they same language, same culture, same everything. How? That is what I'm saying. People, we need to go back to our original territories that we had set out for ourselves. We as Africans know the landscape of Africa. We as Africans know how Africa was supposed to be and is supposed to be. Now, because we don't like each other, because we've been indoctrinated to hate each other, guess what? We are not going to do that. We are going to keep the colonial borders. Now, it doesn't make sense to me why we're keeping colonial borders when, in actual fact, we don't even subscribe to the colonial borders. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Now, if you had to actually see the effects, negative effects, in fact, it's not even positive because I don't see any positives of having the current borders as they are. Because honestly speaking, Africa would actually be gaining more if we had the original territories that we had. I mean, yeah, I know I'm a Pan Africanist, and like I always say, Africa first, right? But if we're going to be going back and forth with people who are for the border system and those that are not for the border system, then I really think the people who are not for the borders have a bigger and a better argument because one, restrictions, two, this whole colonized mindset will be eradicated. Guys, we are not even thinking as Africans, and that's the reason why most of us are struggling in Africa anyway, to be honest. Okay, check this out. Black Americans come to Africa, and guess what they complain about? Racism on the African continent. Guys, I mean, this is shocking, right? Imagine this. You're in America. You just have this idea of the motherland, Africa. You just see black people. You thinking when I come here, I'm not going to experience racism because I'm on the continent of Africa where there's a majority African people, right? Unfortunately, you get here and what happens? You find that, oh my goodness, you are experiencing almost the same kind of racism that you're experiencing in Europe. And yet you are on the continent of Africa. How is that even possible? And even as an African person, born in Africa, bro, you get to experience racism on your own continent. People, do we hate each other as Africans that much that we want to maintain the status quo that keeps us divided? Are you serious? Okay, who's benefiting from all of this? Are we as Africans benefiting from it? I don't think so. If you think you're benefiting from it as an African, please let me know in the comment section below and let me know the positives of having the colonial system running and have it thriving, where a few actually develop and thrive and benefit of the system when the majority don't even benefit from it. Because for me, I feel like going back to the borderless system, the real African system with the territories, I think that is the way forward. Let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section below. Next, we get into the positives, if there's any. You know how it goes. People, the positives of going back to territories and not having borders. Number one, this whole thing of having a passport will be a thing of the past. If you come from a country where you require a visa and you require X amount of cash in US dollars just to be in that country for a week, 2 weeks, a month, then you would know the struggles of having a certain type of passport. Why am I saying this? Guys, if you have a Schengen visa or Schengen passport, right? You don't go through the normal struggles that a Zimbabwean, Mozambican, these poor countries have. Oh my goodness. The amount of money is required just for you to obtain a visa to enter those countries. Then the amount of money you must have just to stay in those countries. It's an abomination. Thirdly, when you have a certain passport at these international airports, oh my goodness, you are treated like a criminal. You are treated like you are worth less than nothing just because of the color of your passport, just because of the country of your passport. Those things, I'm telling you, as a third world traveler, you will experience the most harshest treatments that you can ever experience at some of these European borders and airports when you go through. I'm telling you, the treatment is just so horrendous. All that will be eliminated if we can just go back to having our territories and this border system and colonial system get eradicated, get eliminated. I promise you that. Secondly, we would not need to learn a foreign language that we do not need to learn. We will only learn African languages, and that will be a great thing, to be honest. Look at it, number one. Most Europeans, most Americans, most white people, when they come to South Africa or Africa for them, they don't bother to learn an African language because they are at an advantage. Do you understand what I mean? But you, as an African, you need to adjust. You need to learn Portuguese, French, Afrikaans, you need to learn English, you need to learn Spanish, you need to learn German, you need to, on top of the language that you already know as Africans. Guys, come on, those are things that we really don't need. So to be honest, I don't see any benefit of having this colonial system keep running. I don't see the honestly the positives of having the border system keep going on. I really don't see it. If you see a positive of having the current colonial border system running, please let me know in the comment section below because I really don't see any of that. Let me know in the comment section below. Hala. Okay. People, we already know about the current negative situations that are plaguing Africa, right? So we don't need to get into them. Everybody knows what goes on in Africa, how black people are suffering, how the current colonial systems are against the black people. Everybody knows how the whole system is just against black people. The system is rigged against black people. Why? Because it's a colonial system. And I don't understand why African governments allow the system to persist because it's against the very people who were voted who voted them into power. So what's the point of us voting our people into power if they're going to go with the systems or allow the systems that oppressed us and that continue to oppress us in the first place. It doesn't make sense. So all I'm saying is all Africa's leaders need to come together, and we need to find a solution that we can get rid of the borders, and not only get rid of the borders, but go back to the original settings, to go back to the territories that used to belong to the Maasai, to the Zulu, to the Swahili, to the whatever tribes, whatever other tribes who owned land, who had land. Go back to the original settings, and that will be the first step to Africa's glory. Trust me, I believe in it, and I know that's the way forward. Because if I didn't believe in it, I would really, really be thinking of something else that's not supposed to be what I'm supposed to be thinking about. But to be honest, we can only thrive in an ecosystem that is meant for us, that is built for us, that is run by us, and one that is owned by us. Otherwise, for me, I just feel like there's no other system that can work with the African continent other than an African system. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know we family, right? Holler.